They found him. 10 years. 10 years of posters peeling off street lamps, voicemail boxes filled with silence, birthdays lit with a single candle and no breath to blow it out. Then, a phone call. A rested voice. "We think it's your son." He was taller, thinner, but the scar beneath his left eye was the same, shaped like a crooked comma. They ran DNA. Matched. He didn't run to me when we met, just stood there, staring, studying, like I was someone he used to dream about but didn't trust anymore. I thought that would change once he got home. I was wrong. We stepped through the door. She stood at the end of the hallway, her smile careful, rehearsed, masked. He froze. Then he screamed, "Help me! Dad, call the police!" I pulled out my phone, hands shaking. Then she moved, fast, reaching into her purse, and when she pulled it out, I didn't see a gun, but it felt like one. She called it a panic attack, said he must be traumatized, that children don't always remember right. But he didn't look panicked. He looked betrayed, like he had finally escaped something only to find it waiting inside my home. I watched him curl up in the corner of the guest room, refuse to sleep, refuse to eat if she was in the same room. He didn't say much after that, just one sentence, soft, raw. "You told me she died." I had, because I thought she did. She was gone when he vanished, left me with a note and silence, said she couldn't handle the grief, that she was leaving for a while. I believed her. Grief makes people strange. But she came back 2 years later, said she'd been in therapy, said she'd changed, said we needed each other to heal. I believed that too. And now, I wondered what else I had believed that was never true. I waited until they were both asleep, logged into her old laptop, the one she said was too slow to bother throwing out. It wasn't slow, it was encrypted. But passwords, like people, repeat themselves. I cracked it by the third guess. Inside, folders of photos. One labeled 2009, my son's last year. Photos I'd never seen. Him, her, a cabin, different hairstyles, different clothes, the same eyes. And one file, a video, grainy, dated 6 months after his disappearance. She was talking to him. He looked smaller, fragile. She asked him to call her mommy. He cried. She screamed. Then she hugged him like she hadn't just terrified him. I turned it off, sat still for an hour. Then I checked the address burned into one of the photos, a storage facility outside Tannersville. Next morning, I drove out. Box 312, registered in her maiden name. Inside, toys, his clothes, a school ID badge, dated 3 years after he went missing. My son wasn't missing, he was hidden by her. I showed the video to my son first. He didn't speak, but his hand trembled as he reached for the screen, froze it on her face. Then he nodded, once. Then I showed it to her, didn't say a word, just played it. Her face didn't change at first, but her fingers tightened around the wine glass. "You don't understand," she whispered. I said nothing. "You don't know what I went through. I kept him safe. You were losing it back then." I kept staring. That made her angrier. "I saved him from you." She said it with conviction, like she believed it. But I'd lived with her long enough to know. She only ever believed what protected her. I filed the evidence quietly. Didn't tell her. Didn't argue. Didn't shout. Just waited. 1 week later, a detective showed up at our door, warrant in hand. She turned to me, eyes wide, mouth open. You turned me in?" Still, I didn't speak, because there was nothing left to say. They let her out in handcuffs. She didn't cry, but she looked at me like I was the traitor, as if I'd broken her heart. I walked back inside, found my son hiding behind the stairwell. He looked up, eyes red, silent. I knelt beside him. "It's over," I said. He didn't speak, but this time he leaned into me and stayed. She'll say I betrayed her, that I was weak, that I should have understood. But understanding is for people who make mistakes, not monsters who call it love. She's in custody now, charged with abduction, fraud, psychological abuse, maybe more, depending on what else they find in that cabin. I don't care. All I know is the silence in our house feels different now. Less like mourning, more like healing. I've learned something about grief. It doesn't just come from loss. It comes from discovering the person you trusted most was the reason you lost everything in the first place. I tuck my son in now without fear. He watches the door less, smiles more, sometimes says my name like it still surprises him to be allowed to. She's gone, and she's never coming back. She buried my son in lies, but I was the one who exhumed the truth, and I made sure she choked on it.